Welcome to the 4% Solution. Inspired by Valentine's Day, our theme for the next few videos is about transforming your existing business into a business that loves you back. You've probably heard me say this many times, that's really the goal, is to step up and take control of the reins so that you can reinvent the business you're in so that it stops burning you out, stops consuming you, and actually loves you back. I'm Cher Cunningham, I'm your coach.
And I'm Jim Blow, I'm your consultant.
Welcome to video 2 in our series, Building a Business That Loves You Back. This video is centered on boundaries. And boundaries are really just a set of decisions that you make that let you build something, that let you set the parameters around something so that it exists. Without boundaries, you just have this amorphous cloud of, you pour a cup of water into a cup that doesn't have boundaries, it just rolls all over the table. So the ability to build that container for your business is really what we're going to be talking about in this video.
I think of boundaries as being giving. That's how I equate it in my head. So giving is great, but if you give till you break, and a number of our clients are giving until they break, whether that's directly to their business, whether it's with their employees, whether it's with their clients, you can't give till you break. You have to set boundaries.
I find that most of the businesses we work with, because they're professional services or trade service businesses, inherently they are givers. Mm-hmm. They love to give. And because they are so good at what they do, they can end up just continuing to give. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it inside your business. Because we work extensively with service businesses, and it's in the name of the kind of business, you're a service business. We often have clients who have, in a very specific sense, and this is common, and we have these discussions always when we start working with clients. You start doing the thing that you love doing. That's why you started your business. And because you're good at it, and because you're probably capable of a lot of adjacent things relative to what it is that you do to actually make money, you go to a client, and the client says, "That was great. Can you also do this?" And you say, "Yes, of course. I'm not really busy yet, and I have time, and I can do that." And so you do that, but it's not really why you started your business, but it does help put food on the table, and that's an important part of starting a business, is keeping cash flow going while you build a clientele and build a business and build a client base. The challenge there, of course, is you can very quickly and very significantly drift away from what you love to do, what you started to do while you started your business. And not that that's a bad thing as long as it's done with intention, but if it consumes you in a way that doesn't provide you the best revenue and the best clients and the most profitable clients for the thing that you want to do. It is very, very common for us to be talking to clients who have ended up in that position, and then they start to lose the passion for their business because they're not doing the thing that they wanted to do when they started, even though the revenue is okay and it's growing. And then if your clients need things that weren't the thing you originally do, then you're hiring employees that aren't the employees who are doing the thing that you wanted to do. And it's a very common cycle. So this boundary conversation we're having today is very much about doing a thoughtful, carefully laid out reset to get you back to where you started from a passion perspective in a very profitable sense. Yeah, I think it's important, like you said, Jim, that you can end up doing a lot of things that don't relate to your original passion. Sometimes, though, you start your business and you don't have a lot of experience yet. I know we had a chat with a bookkeeper who 10 years into business, she was still taking on those little clients, teeny tiny home businesses. They'd bring her the shoebox, and it would take so much time. She'd grandfathered in what she charged them. They were eating away at her business.
and she was still serving them. She loved doing bookkeeping. She loved sorting people out, but the type of client that she was now capable of serving, qualified to serve, highly valued by, wasn't that small client, and she didn't really know what to do. It was intentional 10 years earlier, but now this far into the business, it wasn't a real fit. Similar client that we sat with, where we will often ask people, tell us about your services. What do you do? And we'll make a list of what they do.
That's in the process that we walk clients through, we explore a number of levers that lead them to the plan to move their business into their new business model. If you watched our last video, if you haven't, you should go watch our last video, but it moves them into their new business model. And one of those levers relates to this boundary concept. How do you define the thing that you do very carefully and very thoughtfully so that clients know what to expect? So that if you arrive to plow the driveway and they say, can you fix the doorbell, and you're a driveway plowing business, you can say, no, I don't do doorbells, even though we know you know that you can. The client knows that you can.
So we did have a client come in. We started doing the list of all the services she offered. I think we stopped her at about 27. Small business, half a dozen employees. The more things you do, the more inefficiencies you're building into your business. You're also making it hard for people to know how to refer you, what you really do, how you stand out. So we stopped her at that point at 24 or 27, and it was a bit of a shock to her as she was listing how many things she had been doing. She was quite surprised. And when we looked at that list, over 20 of them were things that only she could do in the business. So as the CEO of the business, having so many services that were defined around her specific personal excellence rather than the excellence of the business had made her business something that was really consuming more time than it should. But what an eye-opening experience for her to see that lack of boundaries. The challenge, she said, was people would say, can you do this? And she would say, yes, I can, because indeed she could. That didn't mean she should. And often people who are in a service business are so delighted that people trust them to do the work that they just say yes. In the case of many people, whether I know for our clients, I see that heart-based businesses, often women in business, have been taught that boundaries are inappropriate. A boundary is something that says, where do I stop and you begin? Where does my business stop and another business begins? They're valuable because they build respectful relationships, whether it's interpersonal relationships. If I'm doing things for you that you should be doing for yourself, I'm saving you, I'm rescuing you from your own ineptitude. It's a disrespectful thing to not have grown-up boundaries in grown-up relationships. The same is true in your business. Having solid boundaries allows you to value yourself and value your clients in appropriate ways so that you have the law of reciprocity holding true and not breaking down. When someone knows they're using you inappropriately, it actually starts to break that relationship with you. So I teach people how to set boundaries, whether it's for personal or for business. You need to actually know that there's a process in setting a boundary. You've probably been told you need to learn how to say no. Well, this is how to say no.
And then that ability to craft a boundary that Cher does so well coaching people on, then translates into your business, into the business math, frankly, so that you can define your services and identify the ones that are most profitable. That's what we do with you, and build your business model around the things that you do well, that people value most, that are the most profitable. Couple of caveat, or a couple of interesting things here. So we're not saying that the other things that you do aren't valuable services to the clients that you serve. And we often talk about cooperation and building a network. So if there are services, I'll use the word adjacent, if there are services directly beside you or services above you or below you in the value chain that don't make sense for you to offer, it's a very, very powerful thing to go and source partners in the business world who are able to offer those services that you're confident to refer those clients to, so they actually can be served by somebody who does that for a living, who has that business model, who can make money and serve those clients well.
That's part of what builds that powerful business community that you need to be part of. Right? Part of running a business that loves you back is being able to be part of that business community so that you're solving the problem that somebody else has created, and then you're referring people to solve the problem you create. So in our case, we solve the problem of, hey, I have a business that's successful and I don't know what to do next. And as we work with you and help you make that more profitable and build your wealth from that, you may have the problem of now you need to know where to buy a boat. So we can refer you to people like that. Or you may need a tax accountant. Well, we don't do tax accounting. We don't do corporate law. We don't do high-level market planning and marketing. We could do a lot of that. We have a lot of information. We could give you advice on that, but we won't. We will work with you on that, and because we're part of this great community of business people that we work with. So boundaries also allow people to comfortably and confidently refer you and not be afraid they're going to lose a client by giving you a referral. So setting a boundary, I'm going to do a quick lesson on it because I think it's important.
Right.
A boundary needs to be set anytime someone asks you for time, money, or energy. And it may come out of the blue. Instead of having that knee-jerk yes, the answer is, I'll get back to you. So as you are finishing renovating a kitchen, for instance, then they say, hey, can you do the mudroom? Instead of off the cuff saying for an extra $1,000, sure thing. Or yes, I can do that on my way out the door. You get back to them with a new proposal, right? You're setting that boundary that I'll get back to you. So you go away, you don't do a knee-jerk reaction to it. And then you ask yourself 3 questions. Do I have it to give? Are you fully booked? Do I want to give it? This is an incredible client and I want to make sure I create this relationship. Under what circumstances? If I can start in 2.5 months, I can actually do a great job on it. It gives you an opportunity to not step out of integrity by an accidental yes you can't deliver on. This works everywhere. I have a small story. My son, when he was a teenager, I was running a small business, doing web design. I had 2 employees, and I would stop my work, drive him to work, and then stop my work again later in the day and pick him up again because he didn't have a vehicle. And this went on for weeks, and it was just driving me crazy. Transitioning out, transitioning back in, losing the time, feeling disorganized by this every day, twice a day. And I knew I had to set a boundary, and I was nervous because he's a teenage boy, and we all know they can be a little volatile. So I got prepared, didn't do it when he asked for the ride, but separate from that, I went and had a coffee with him and said, Will, I'm interrupting my day twice a day. It's inconvenient. I'm finding it frustrating. I'm not going to be giving you a ride to work or picking you up anymore. To my surprise, he did not rage quit. He did not flip tables. He did not get emotional at all. He said, I had no idea it was inconvenient. I just thought you liked spending time together during that drive in and out again. And he never asked for another ride. I treated him like an adult. I treated him with respect, and I treated myself with respect. And it really transformed our relationship by doing so. That will happen when you set expectations with your clients that are clear and true of when you want to communicate with them and when you are not available to communicate. When you set expectations of your employees that trust that they are capable of doing the work you hired them for, that trust that they want to grow and do a great job. The ability to set a boundary puts you in a place of incredible respect and integrity that people rise to.
And boundaries for yourself. So it's important to have third-party boundaries, so boundaries with your employees and your clients in business. It's also very important to have a boundary for yourself.
Why, thank you. I feel like you're just being my straight man. In business, when you're setting boundaries with yourself, it's often boundaries on when you will work and when you won't work, when you're available for someone to phone you or email replies to. It's also boundaries on your emotions. What level of stress are you willing to sit in? How personally do you want to take things in your business? That ability to set boundaries on your employees sad and upset and because their dog is sick. Do you need to feel sad and upset with them, or can you just work with them in a fair and appropriate way? Often we will see people in business stepping over those boundaries emotionally and stepping over the boundaries in when do I work, when do I not work.
And tying that into the business math, business is a combination of passion for the thing that you do and business math. There's no magic in there. It's math. So tying that into the business math is many of our clients arrive burnt out, and they're burnt out because they're having trouble with the boundaries, and they're having trouble with the boundaries in a vicious kind of loop because there's not enough profit to allow them to step away, but the stepping away requires the boundaries. So there are some technical things that can be done both on the math side of that as well as on the mindset side of that work together then to fix both of those challenges.
So a lot of this boundary talk is about valuing yourself, valuing what you do, tying appropriate value to the relationships you're building. There's a lot of what I would call nonsense advice out there. You need to undercharge and over-deliver. You need to go the extra mile. You need to provide the best customer service. And there's nothing wrong with that in theory. It sounds very true, which is why it sucks people in. But what they're not doing is charging for it or accounting for it in the hours that they bill out. And that is a boundary violation. When you look at where your excellence is in business, you need to charge for that, to recognize where you are a premium product, where you have a premium service, and value that in how you build that business model out.
Many of our clients are planning to build larger businesses, and there's only one place on the business journey where you can't stay. So you can't stay in what we call the doldrums, which is kind of the place we've been talking about here, where it's boundaryless and you're burning out and you're upset at your employees and they're upset at you and you're not meeting your client expectations. We call that place the doldrums. It is really the only place on the business journey that you can't sit. You either have to get smaller to become a person who does the thing with helpers, as opposed to having employees who do the thing, or you need to get not necessarily larger, but profitable at the thing you do using a bunch of tools. And then from there you can grow. And what we advocate for all clients, and this is framed out in the context of a $10 million business, although you don't have to be there to think this way ever, is that your time as the CEO of your business, and you are the CEO of your business, you should be thinking of your time as being worth $1,000 an hour. Because in a $10 million business, that is what the CEO is worth. And that mindset, and we have clients who we've talked to about this, and they start walking around and gauging their boundaries in the context of their time being worth $1,000 an hour. It is a remarkably powerful tool to really hone in on what you want to do and where you want to set your boundaries.
And I think some of the actions that come out of that realization that you've been in business long enough and built this level of success that you need to be treating yourself like the CEO, stepping into that leadership role and valuing what you do. There are things that start happening from that where you stop running errands, you fully delegate tasks so that you're not doing rework for what your employees slacked off under, didn't understand, weren't empowered to do. Your employees actually want to do a great job. When you are clear, you help them understand how to do, completely delegate the job to them, the task to them, and expect them to do so, hold them to account on that. That is a real place of empowerment for your employees as well. When that's bleeding back, often it's because employers feel like if you're willing to work for me, you're doing me a favor, and I'm so grateful that you're willing to work for me that I don't want to expect too much of you. I want you to like me, and a lot of things can seep into that, and it does create a very boundaryless role place. So we often will start from look at the org chart, look at the jobs, and who should be doing them. When you outline your role, with mostly $1,000 an hour tasks, business development and sales, and some of those crucial things that are huge value to your business, and outlining employees based on what their role should be. Those boxes form solid certainty and assurance for you and your employees of what needs to be done and how to do it. That is a great place of communication, solid understanding. I know how I create value for you. It's very powerful.
Boundaries are the essential tool of implementing your business model. You can't implement your business model successfully without those kinds of boundaries. And hopefully today we've managed to provide some tools and some examples, including personal ones. Thanks for that, Sharon. For those of you with teenage children, you might relate to that, of how that relates to personal relationship boundaries.
I think so. I think that message, as you look at where your business is seeping into places it shouldn't be, or where roles and activities are blending in and don't have those clear-cut edges, you can see that loss of efficiency, loss of certainty, and loss of value is where things start bleeding out, and that's also where your profit is bleeding out to. And without profit, there is no time freedom. Your business should be paying off, and those are some of the places where it seeps out.
Profit is how your business loves you back.
It is. Thanks for watching this video. We are going to do our next video on the Pareto principle and some of the decisions that you can make to build from your current excellence and evolve your business to the next level. So hope to see you in that one.
Bye for now.